Hello, Cancers. Welcome to your 2024 overview horoscope. 2024 main events include Pluto's back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius, with the final ingress into Aquarius at the end of the year. Also, Jupiter conjoins Uranus in Taurus right before Jupiter changes signs and enters Gemini, bringing some new luck and expansion into new house topics. But it's not all fun and games. It will also square Saturn in Pisces. And then we will also get into spring and fall eclipse season. So let's hop right into it because we got a lot to talk about. So Pluto enters Aquarius is the first thing that I want to talk about on January 20th. This is Pluto heading back into your 8th house. Remember the first visit of Pluto entering your 8th house? That was the end of March 2023, beginning of April 2023. So you can look back at those times to kind of get an idea of what to expect for the second time. And it's a second time for diving deep into the themes of transformation, the 8th house themes, transformation, especially around finances and personal growth and emotional situations, emotional baggage, and healing around that. So what are some things we can expect? A financial revamp of some kind, looking for changes or further developments in your financial matters like debts or loans or inheritances. Maybe you're finding new ways to manage your finances or tackling debts more effectively when Pluto enters Aquarius. Also, continuing to work through any emotional baggage or emotional trauma is supported with Pluto in your 8th house. If you have started therapy or some sort of personal reflection in March, the end of March of 2023, this phase will go deeper, or maybe you return to your therapist. That is very supported. And transformations in how you connect with close partners, especially involving emotional or financial support, could be coming up. But there is also, like I said, there's a mental health focus here, a continued emphasis on your mental well-being, exploring new methods of self-care or therapy and tools that help manage anxiety and that sort of thing. More developments happening regarding a partner's finances. If you have a partner, either business or, romantic, a partner's resources or life in general, which could impact your joint financial situation. And this is a really deep transit. Pluto entering the 8th house. This pushes you to understand life cycles in general, like a deeper understanding of the cycles of life and death, which could be literal or metaphorical, which will lead to a more profound acceptance of change, which is a very useful quality or tool to have in your life. But overall, evolving how you give and receive support could be up for changes, both emotionally and financially. Like a transformation with support systems is coming up. It's less about starting new journeys, since it's the second time it's entering here, and more about continuing to deepen the transformations you began last year or in 2023. It's a very powerful time for inner change, facing financial realities, and just emotional growth. So this pushes us to eclipse season, part 1, in the spring. And this is more about the ending of an era and the beginning of another era, whereas Pluto was more about, the revisitation of something. Eclipse season is a big deal, especially for you, because it is happening in your 4th and 10th houses, which are very foundational in your life. We're talking major shifts in your home life or with your foundations and with your career. And these shifts started back in the fall of 2023. So let's talk about the first eclipse, which is March 25th, and it's happening at 5 degrees Libra in your 4th house of the home and the heart. So let's see. Changes with your living situation are in the cards with this eclipse. Maybe moving, renovating, just a big shift in how you feel about your space is coming up in around March 25th. And some sort of shifts in family relationships could be possible too. Could be as simple as finally seeing eye to eye with some sort of relative, or as big as welcoming a new family member. But digging into your roots is important with this eclipse. You might get curious with your ancestry or just with your relatives, family history, leading to some interesting discoveries. And if you are buying, selling, or renting property, something could come up with that. Significant developments could happen around this time regarding real estate. So then we have a wonky 2 weeks in between eclipses from March 25th to April 8th. And April 8th, we see the next eclipse at 19 degrees Aries, which is your 10th house of career and your public life. And your job and your career path within these 2 weeks or month might take some unexpected turns. Maybe a promotion, maybe a career switch, or starting your own gig, or a different role, taking on a new role. And how you are seen in the professional world will be changing. It could be about getting more recognition for your job or deciding that it's time to rebrand yourself. These are supported. If you are ready to change your work responsibilities, this eclipse has your back. And your interactions with bosses or mentors or any type of authority figures could shift, and it could impact your career trajectory, but not necessarily. I don't recommend you speed or do anything illegal around eclipse season because cops will be extra. So you're basically setting new cornerstones for your life with this eclipse season, both in your personal and your professional worlds. It is a year that's all about laying down the groundwork for the future that you want. Also, around this time, Mars will be conjoining Saturn in your 9th house, and this could bring some challenges, a slowdown, a delay, someone telling you no, having to do with 9th house matters, and 9th house matters expand your mind. So it's something to do with school, some sort of challenges to do with school or travel or storytelling, adventuring, journeys. I don't recommend doing any psychedelics either around eclipse season. But the Mars-Saturn conjunction will pass quickly. I just wanted to give you some context for eclipse season being a little bit rougher or more feather ruffling than you're used to maybe. And let's move on to April 20th. This is, of course, Taurus season starts, but this is also when Jupiter conjoins Uranus at 21 degrees Taurus. And this is your 11th house, so you're going to be in for some exciting or unexpected developments with your social life or your community connections. Sudden changes or expansions in your social circles is possible. New and interesting people might enter your life, or you'll have interactions with new and interesting people. Unexpected opportunities through networking could come up. Your I know a guy connections could really come through in surprising ways for this transit. A boost in community involvement is possible. You might find yourself more involved in activities, maybe even in a leadership role. And some friendships might take a turn towards something more significant, or you might part ways with some people. And opportunities for financial improvement linked to your work or through a colleague is totally possible with this transit also. If you are on a third marriage or a third serious relationship, expect some sort of exciting development with that, possibly through social networks. You could meet somebody interesting. And just a sudden or gradual or sudden, it depends because Jupiter's here, but Uranus is sudden. But an involvement or impact with social work or activism is supported here. This conjunction can really significantly boost your influence and popularity within your social circles and your community overall. So I recommend you use this transit to actively engage with your network, attend more events, reach out to contacts, be open to forming new connections for this transit. Also, if there's a cause that you're passionate about, now's the time to take the lead. Your efforts have a way larger and stronger impact with this transit happening. So with this happening in your 11th house, it's all about embracing the unexpected in your social life and using these surprises to your advantage. Just be ready for sudden shifts with Jupiter conjoining Uranus. And then a month later, on May 25th, Jupiter enters Gemini, and it will immediately trine Pluto in your 8th house. So Jupiter enters your 12th house and trines Pluto in your 8th house. And this is about powerful yet subtle shifts happening behind the scenes in your life, just related to your inner world and also financial matters and emotional matters. Emotional, and I'm saying emotional and financial because that's the 8th house. And financial can be emotional, right? It has a lot to do with our security, which has a lot to do with our emotions. But we like Jupiter trining Pluto. This is very powerful. You might see gradual improvements in your financial situation, especially regarding resolving debts or managing some sort of shared resource with somebody else. It's a really good time. It's a good time for deep, transformative emotional healing, especially through therapy or self-reflection. Jupiter will be in Gemini for 12 months. So from May 25th, 2024 to May something 2025. And you have 12 months to take advantage of Jupiter being here. So I expect you will be gaining profound spiritual insights and having very meaningful experiences regarding your belief system and related to spirituality. You might notice some behind the scenes support as well, like receiving support from unexpected sources, possibly in a discreet or indirect way. This is a really good time for traveling and taking advantage of how you will transform and change through travel. This is the kind of transit that's like you move to another country for a few months and completely change because of that. That's the vibe. Mental health breakthroughs are possible too with any therapy that you're doing. Potential breakthroughs in understanding or managing any mental health issues. You might notice secrets coming out into the light also with this transit. This is just an alone time vibe with Jupiter here. And if you're not going to be traveling around the world, I recommend you travel in your mind. Read lots of books. Learn from other people. Expand yourself and focus on yourself and reconnecting with yourself. This is a really good time for thoughtful financial planning, especially regarding your debts, your taxes, shared resources. It's a really good time to strategize and find and set long-term financial goals. And it's also a good time to deep dive into personal growth activities, whether that's meditation, therapy, exploring your spirituality, new practices. It's a really good phase for introspection and discovering more about your inner self. Like overall, this is about quietly working on deeper aspects of your life and laying groundwork for future progress and stability, healing the behind the scenes stuff that make the stuff on stage shine a lot brighter. So moving on, we go through June, July, and then August. August 15th, we have Mars squaring Saturn exactly. This is a rock in a hard place. You have the gas on and the brakes on. It's a stop-go kind of energy, and it seems like a really bad time to travel. If you're going to travel, I do not recommend traveling in August or in the summertime. Or if you do, be prepared for some challenges or for some sort of hurdles or delays that you're going to have to deal with. Bring extra patience if so. Also, same thing with school or with going away, like moving away for school. There are some challenges there. But overall, expect to feel stuck between a rock and a hard place in the middle of August. But at the same time, Jupiter will be squaring Saturn. Jupiter and Mars will be conjoining or pretty close together and squaring Saturn. And this happens 2 times. Jupiter squares Saturn again at the end of the year. But Jupiter brings in some luck with all those challenges I was bringing up with Mars. Jupiter and Mars kind of hype each other up, and Saturn throws a wet blanket on it. So we have all of these dynamics happening. You can expect some like studying versus soul-searching energy. It's like you're trying to hit the books, maybe take a class or a course, but you're feeling the need to just chill out and meditate and have wisdom instead of knowledge. Balancing that can be really tricky at this time. If you are daydreaming about trips, reality will check in. Realizing you have responsibilities, budget constraints, making it tough. This is kind of the vibe I was talking about where stop, go. You're going to be gung-ho to do something and then something will happen. Saturn will happen and it'll slow you down. So harnessing patience in August is important. Like I said, if you're learning something new, it might feel like you're moving through molasses in August. It's like you're making progress, but it's a lot slower than you'd like. So I recommend you use August to schedule some downtime like you would a study session. Instead of scheduling a study session, schedule downtime, giving yourself permission to take necessary breaks. And if you want to travel, think about trips that are both enriching and relaxing. Maybe a weekend getaway that's not too far, but feels like an escape could be easier than a bigger event of traveling. So with Mars also squaring Saturn, it adds an element of tension, particularly around taking action versus exercising caution. Mars and Jupiter together might inspire you to make bold moves, but Saturn's influence is a reminder to consider the long-term consequences and to act responsibly and seriously and to take every step properly. So August calls for a very careful balance between enthusiasm and restraint, which is pushing you to grow, but asking you to respect limits. So moving on to September, this is when Pluto re-enters Capricorn on September 1st. This is the last time it will be in Capricorn since being there since 2008. So you'll be entering the final stretch of profound transformations in your relationships. The final 2 months is more about cementing changes and insights that you've already gained rather than introducing entirely new themes. So you can expect some sort of significant changes in how you relate to others when Pluto re-enters Capricorn, especially with close partners. All of that is becoming more ingrained and more clear, the type of changes and dynamics you have with other people. Also, existing relationships, whether it's a partner, a close friend, a business associate, might reach new levels of intimacy with Pluto here. New levels of intimacy, new levels of understanding. Long-standing issues or challenges in relationships might finally come to a resolution or closure. A clearer understanding of what you need and expect from other people and what they need from you in one-on-one interactions will definitely be coming up for these 2 months. If you're married, this is a period that might mark a final shift in how you and your spouse interact, addressing deep-seated issues or renewing the bond. So this 2-month period of Pluto here is going to make your relationships more resilient and more profound and built on a foundation of genuine understanding and some sort of transformation that's been happening. So I recommend you use these final 2 months to reflect on how your relationship style has evolved since 2008, acknowledge the growth, acknowledge the changes, acknowledge the challenges, and think about how you can build on this foundation moving forward. I also recommend having meaningful conversations with partners or close friends that reinforce these dynamics that you want to move forward with, that you have developed. So as Pluto wraps up its last transit through your 7th house, this is a time for finalizing these changes and how you connect with others on a one-on-one basis. So we're excited to get that out of the way. You're going to love Pluto not being angular for you anymore. And let's move on to eclipse season. Eclipse season starts on September 17th. It happens in Pisces, 25 degrees Pisces, and this is the first eclipse in this house. So this brings a little toe dip of the new era and the ending of an era, the ending and the beginning of an era that's happening with your Pisces house topics, which is your 9th house. So you might find yourself diving into a new subject, new learning adventure, changes with your education, benchmark moments with learning. One day, maybe you're watching a documentary, and the next, maybe you're signing up for a course on whatever that documentary was teaching. If you have some sort of dream travel plans, this might be when you start to make real plans to get there. This eclipse also might be pushing you to just explore things locally. But traveling is a significant benchmark with traveling could be coming up. Also, significant benchmark moments with shifts on how you connect spiritually. Maybe you find yourself more interested in meditation or astrology or something else that opens up your mind. And your dreams for this eclipse are going to be wild. They're going to be very vivid and probably offering some interesting insights and ideas. And then we have a 2-week wonky eclipse season between September 17th and October 2nd. And on October 2nd, we have the next eclipse at 10 degrees Libra in your 4th house of home and heart. And this will be one of the final, if not the final eclipse in this house. So it'll be wrapping up any big changes in your home life. Maybe you're finally finishing a renovation or finally deciding to move. Some key moments with family could be coming up with this eclipse as well. Could be anything from resolving old issues to starting new traditions. And a deeper understanding of your roots could be coming up, like where you've come from, and exploring family history could be coming up, reconnecting with relatives on some level, and settling into your space, like feeling more at home where you are, both literally and figuratively, like finally feeling settled and at peace in your own space, whether it's making your space more you or feeling more connected to your surroundings in general. But eclipse season in these houses are wrapping up major endings and beginnings at home while also opening new doors to the learning world and exploring and just opening your mind a little bit more. It's a mix of finding comfort in your personal space while also being ready to jump into new adventures and broadening your horizons. So fall eclipse season brings a mix of finding comfort in your personal space while also being ready to jump into new adventures that broaden your horizons. And this moves us to November 19th, which is when Pluto re-enters Aquarius for the final time. And with Pluto making its third and final entrance into your 8th house, this is a very significant phase, especially since it's going to be there until 2043. So, after adjusting your financial strategies in the past times that Pluto has entered here in March of 2023 and January of 2024, this is about locking in those changes for the long haul. So think long-term plans having to do with debts, savings, investments, any type of money contracts. If you've been digging deep into emotional matters, this is a time for mastering and integrating insights. Like you are getting to the heart of what really matters to you emotionally. Maybe, like I said, therapy will get you far with Pluto in your 8th house. And these shifts with your close relationships are now settling into something more stable, more enduring, whether it's with a partner, a close friend, a business associate. Expect these dynamics to crystallize with Pluto here. You're likely to find new mental health tools also that work for you, which will be very sustainable, helping you work through any anxiety or any emotions that come bubbling up. Sometimes we go through phases where things are just making us more anxious than usual. And with Pluto here, it really pushes us to know the tools to deal with that kind of anxiety. And overall, just a support system evolution happening with Pluto here. How you support others and how they support you is reaching a new level of understanding and effectiveness with Pluto here. So you'll be wrapping up and solidifying transformations that began in 2023. This final Pluto ingress is less about upheaval and more about settling into a new normal that you've created, especially with your finances and your emotional life and your relational life. So next, let's talk about December 6th. This is when Mars stations retrograde. And Mars will be stationing retrograde in your 2nd house. It goes from your 2nd house to your 1st house. And so we're going to think of it as a financial and resource check-in time. So I'm talking about December 6th. This is when Mars stations retrograde, and stationing points are different than actual retrogrades because stationing points are when the planet actually stops moving to then change directions. So the stationing point brings a halt or a delay or a challenge or it brings a stop to things, especially things related to Mars associations. So there's a slowdown happening. And then once Mars starts to move backwards again and picks up speed, that is when there is some reflection and reassessment and review and revisiting, a rework, a revise, a reconnection. All the re's happen when the retrograde's going on. So talking about just the stationing period, December 6th, there could be a struggle or process happening with big purchases or purchases that you're making in December. I'm not going to lie, this is rough for the holiday season. You might find yourself going over budget, finding and maybe you can look for things that make it easier, like looking for hidden subscriptions that you're signed up for that you didn't know about. This is a good time to cancel subscriptions. This is also a good time to think twice about impulsive buys, like I said, about big purchases, but especially little buys. You could also be reassessing your income sources and looking for ways to make money in different ways that work better for you. Mars retrograde in your second house is also a perfect time to declutter. Like, do you really need 5 different coffee makers? Do you really need all those clothes? Throw out clothes you don't wear anymore. The second house rules food. Food is a resource. So reflecting on your eating habits and how you're using your resources could come up. Maybe you want to start meal prepping or something like that. So overall, there's some financial wisdom that comes from this retrograde. It could lead to smarter financial decisions and becoming more aware and becoming the next budget guru or something like that. You could use this energy to get your finances in order. Use this retrograde before the retrograde uses you. Create a budget before you have to. Look into saving options before you have to. Start planning for that big future purchase, but don't do it while Mars is stationing, unless you've been thinking about it a long time. That could be astrologer good also. So it's all about taking a closer look at your resources, your finances, what makes you feel secure. There's some sort of switch up happening with your money and material stuff. It's a chance to slow down, reassess, make sure you're on track with your financial goals, and grab a budget sheet, basically. And then lastly, the last thing we're going to talk about is Jupiter squaring Saturn for the second time on December 24th. Here we are again, Jupiter in your 12th house squaring Saturn in your 9th. And this happened in August of 2024, so we're back for a second round in December. This is shaping up to be a year where you're balancing deep inner work with a quest for knowledge and adventure, which kind of go hand in hand. So you could be back at trying to focus on your studies or upskilling, but also really craving moments of zoning out or meditating or praying. Finding that that balance is still the game here. If you are thinking about travel plans again, this time you're a lot more aware of what's doable and what's within your current responsibilities and your current budget. If you are learning something new, you might still feel like it's taking forever to click, but this time you have a bit more patience and new strategies to tackle whatever that is. And checking in with your mental health, I'm going to keep hounding mental health, is key. And finding quiet time by yourself is still where you're going to be getting those aha moments and much needed peace. So all of this juggling is actually helping you get a clearer picture of what you need for your growth in life, what you need for your mental health and your intellectual growth as well. I recommend you use the end of the year to organize your days at the end of the year to balance study and downtime more effectively. Maybe study for an hour, then meditate for 15 minutes. Really get that schedule down. And when it comes to travel, think about places that can offer both learning and a chance to unwind, like a cultural city trip where you can just explore the city in a day and then relax in the evenings. So with Jupiter and Saturn squaring off again, it's about finding that sweet spot between pushing yourself to learn and grow and giving yourself space to breathe and reflect. You'll have been through this once before, so the second time will be a lot easier, and you'll be able to use whatever insights you learn in the summertime to make wintertime even more effective. And that's what we have today, y'all. So how do you feel about this upcoming year? Drop a comment. Tell me which transit you're looking forward to and which transits you are side-eyeing. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember Pyxis Fellowship offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations, either readings or mentorship. And of course, you are welcome to join us in the free 9th House Discord server to keep the astro conversation flowing. Thank you so much, friends. I will catch you next time.